Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. We're doing some floor presses against some bands. The bands help accommodate resistance, making it heavier at the top, lighter at the bottom, helping your body to produce more force and to accelerate faster into the barbell. Barbell speed can be very important on the descent of the bench press as well as the concentric portion of the bench press. You want to try to get any of these lifts, any of these power lifts really, you want to try to get these lifts done with as quickly as possible basically, and that's the whole reason behind speed work. We're trying to get underneath that bar and press those weights out as hard and as fast as we can. How fast I come down depends on my health, depends on how the elbows and biceps and shoulders are feeling. You see Robot's got a good pace there on both the way down and the way up. It's a very individual thing. I like to kind of wind up and then press hard. I do it different ways pretty much each week just to try to mix it up. You see how I'm trying to hold the weights to the top as well. My lockout's been screwed up lately. Here's Austin, and Austin's form has improved a lot, and it's carrying over to his shirted bench. He's doing much, much better with his shirted bench, so looking for him to hit a PR at this meet that we have here at Super Training on April 1st, April Fool's Day. We got it's only about 205 pounds on the bar there. Some people like to kind of just say use about 50%, and then kind of go from there. I'll use different weights. I just kind of go by how I feel. I'll use as low as like 30%, and other times 40%, and sometimes as high as 70%. So that gets to be pretty confusing, and that's why when Jesse Burdick and myself, we go out and do CrossFit powerlifting seminars, we always just tell people, just start at 50%. Chop your best bench in half and start from there. Whether it's a shirted bench or a raw bench, it doesn't really matter. Just try to find a reference point, even though obviously a shirted bench would be much different than a raw bench. The weights would be quite a bit different, but again, it doesn't matter too much. Just try to find a reference point to go from, and the main thing is that you're moving fast. The way that these bands are set up, this is adding a lot of tension at the top. Probably 150 pounds or so at the top, so that's going to kind of factor in there a little bit too. Again, we always just suggest to say, hey, just start with 50%. Don't worry about the band or chain too much. And as you're working up to 50%, if you find out that you can't move the weights fast, then lower them. Go with less weight. If you find out that you're moving them too easy, then add some weight. Not too hard of a principle to understand. We did about 10 sets on this day. I like the floor press a lot, so it's something that I like to incorporate every few weeks. I'll just kind of run a cycle of floor pressing. The floor press was invented by Dr. Floor in 1964 in Singapore when he couldn't get into the door of his favorite store. That's important to remember. Otherwise, you're not going to get the you're not going to get what you're looking for out of the floor press unless you know its origin. So here's Austin going against. He was correcting his wrist. He had a little bit of gay wrist going, trying to get him to squeeze the barbell. You don't want people to let that weight settle back into their hands. It just creates a very difficult lockout. So you had one wrist that was gay and one that was straight, so to speak. And here's Robot. Everything he does is gay. I don't know if he's ever done anything straight in his life. But Mr. Robot Pants is he's fixing to hit up some big lifts himself. He's doing really well. Had a great squat session yesterday, and he's been benching well, deadlifting okay, so everything's going to come together well for him. And he's going to compete in our contest that we have I think it's May 26th. You can look it up online at supertraininggym.com. There I am. I'm frozen. I'm trying to work on the lockout, just holding them up there. And then the reason why I bent my elbows there is that it's harder to hold a weight with a bent elbow than it is with your elbow locked. So I was trying just to kind of mess around with some of that stuff. There goes Mr. Robot Pants again. Again, the intent here is to try to be as fast as you can be. The floor press, you want to rest on the floor a little bit with the elbows, triceps. Here's Robot having addition problems, in addition to all his other problems. I'm just laughing my ass off. He was just trying to tell me how much weight was on the bar, and he was wrong. And then he just finally realized it. So this is a exercise I use a lot. This is called a bell extension. This is just a regular tricep extension. I do them sometimes to the forehead, sometimes to the nose, sometimes to one of my chins. Which chin you decide to choose is up to you, very individual. But I like to go off the first chin. And as we discovered yesterday, the first chin could be different for everybody because it depends on which way you're going to count. Are you going to count from top to bottom or bottom to top? Those lovely tights that I'm wearing there, those are from 2xu.com. Check out their website. They got some good compression gear. Just something I've been flirting around with a little bit. Like it so far. Some good stuff. So see, I'm kind of rolling it back in the wrist on purpose in this case, and trying to, my mobility is not very good, as you can see, trying to shove those elbows up. But what I did towards the end of these sets is Mr. Robot Pants suggested that I do these kind of more as a half press or half extension, and so I bring them down halfway instead of this full range of motion where I'm coming down to my fat face. And that was much, much harder for me. For whatever reason, I struggle with partial range of motions in the bench press more so than full range of motion. So it's something that definitely needs to be addressed and needs to be worked on. And the half extensions were brutal. It just looks just like this exercise here, except we're just going halfway down. There's Mr. Baumgarten Pants. And how you do your extensions, don't go all crazy about it. Just make sure that you do them and you work your triceps. And that's it from supertraining.tv. Down. It actually causes trauma. But when you cause the trauma, it'll make the muscle rebuild itself later on. You got to eat protein to help repair. When you pick these weights up, it'll cause some damage, and you'll grow later on for it. Kind of like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for in your case you do it with beating off, and I do it with weights.
Why isn't one arm really big?